I was just reading through some news on Forbes and saw an interesting article that I wanted to go through with you guys because this is just an example of how things are just hidden in plain sight. Um, they talk about what needs to happen for stocks to go up in 2024. It's just kind of an interesting article. Not many people pay much attention to this, but I do. And I'm going to share this article with you, and you can see it. So here's what needs to happen let's get rid of that. Here's what needs to happen for stocks to go up in 2024. Well, that's pretty interesting. Let's look at this and see what Forbes thinks. It says following substantial gains in the final 2 months of 2023, the S&P 500 lost all direction in the initial weeks of 2024 and is now fluctuating between gains and losses. The large upswing of last year was driven by the performance. Now get this, driven by the performance of, quote, the Magnificent Seven, unquote. As the index's largest seven stocks are now known, the Mag 7 index, created by CNBC, had an impressive 104.8% gain in 2023. Now, this is what caught my attention. This is unbelievable. Let's read that again. That Mag 7 index created by CNBC had an impressive 104.8% gain in 2023, which implies that the remaining 493 stocks of the S&P 500 actually lost ground. What? This persists so far into 2024 with the Mag 7 up in the initial 2 weeks, while the broader 500 S&P 500 is down. Does that concern? Is that just me, or does that concern you guys? It sounds to me like the seven stocks, which you could probably name a few of them. Um, of course, it's Apple. Um, I'm pretty sure it's Amazon. Would have to look here again. There's that just blows me away. It blows me away. And here's the thing, the stock market and how it's going in January is a big predictor of um, what the rest of the year is going to be like. So that Mag 7 has been not only did it up last year, that just blows me away that 493 of the S&P 500 stocks lost ground. They lost money. So if you're a mutual fund, I mean, the only mutual fund I guess you would want to be the one that builds around that Mag 7. But there's only so much of that to go around. Every mutual fund can't buy into that because there's not enough. So guess what they do? They have to down your performance with losers. And that's why these mutual funds and these investments aren't doing well, because only seven stocks in the S&P 500 are making money. That just that just blows me away. So what I want y'all to realize is the stock market before the 1970s was really just there for the ultra wealthy. And then a bunch of bankers on Wall Street guys got together with some politicians, and they decided to use your retirement money, your pension, to prop up Wall Street. So they started doing away with pensions, and they brought out this thing called the 401k. And the 401k was a deliberate plan to get the working man's money into Wall Street and prop it up. Before that, Wall Street returns were pretty blah. Things, we hear this all the time that if you put $1 in Coca-Cola, there are stories like that. But it wasn't until they started propping up Wall Street with 5-10% of, just imagine how much money the 401ks have generated for Wall Street. Before that, people weren't investing in Wall Street. The average Joe that was working the 9 to 5, he didn't have to worry about contributing to a 401k, and he certainly didn't know enough to know where to put that money. So the government said, well, we'll help you out. We'll create this 401k where you're going to have to pick a mutual fund or stocks and bonds or whatever, and we're going to get that money on Wall Street. And it's really just perpetuated the plan of printing money and propping up Wall Street. So hopefully this is an article that helps you see a little clearer. Um, the truth is, Wall Street's not your friend, and they're not looking out for you or your money. They're not looking out for your dollars. They just want your money so that they can put it under their management, and they can take their fees and make themselves rich off of it. That's what they've done. If they had, there's no telling how many trillions of dollars have been skimmed off the top of Americans' 401k accounts. How much wealth has changed hands due to this. And the sad thing is that's your money. And I used to go along with that as well. My 401k, it is sold as a benefit, and I'm here to say that it is not that great of a benefit. A 401k defers taxes into the future. I think you're much, much better off paying your taxes today. And I think you're much, much better getting your money out of a 401k and getting money off Wall Street and onto Main Street and into assets that you control, or you can control and have some influence, or the people who are in control and trust them. But there's also a lot of investments off of Wall Street that can save you, tax money, way more tax money than just tax deferral. The government makes it sound, and so many financial planners go along with this. They make it sound like they're doing such a great service to you by deferring your taxes until you have $1 million. You know, I would much rather pay the taxes today, because when you have $1 million, if you're in the 30% tax bracket, you're paying 300,000, and it's coming out at a point when it hurts, when you need to make that money stretch, and you need to know how far that money's going to go. There's another just misconception, really a fallacy around the whole point of saving up to a number, the accumulation game, which used to be $1 million. And the 4% rule says you can only take out 4% per year, and you got to live off that. So if you start doing math, you realize 4% of a million is only 40. So you better have, not many people probably have a super comfortable lifestyle on 40,000 a year. You better shoot for at least 2 or 3 million to get 80 to 120 grand a year. But you better be careful, because you might outlive your money. And all of that just reeks of scarcity. It reeks of this scarcity complex of you save and you scrimp and you put so much in your 401k, money that you earn that you're having to leave on the table. Government making you feel like they're doing you a favor. They have it and control it. Wall Street controls it for 30 years and then gives it back to you. One of the things I heard is if I was going to give you an investment, and I told you that you had to give me your money, and I was going to lock it up for 30 years, I was going to give you limited choices on what you could do with it. But I was going to grow it at a certain rate of return. And all these things that 401ks do, most people, if you really thought about it, you would never give them your money. You would never, ever give them your money, but you have no choice. So my advice is, put enough money in your 401k to get the match. Don't do any more than that. Take your money, start accumulating it in other places. The best place, I think, in the world to accumulate money is in a specially designed whole life cash value policy, high cash value policy. Don't go out on hearing that and buy one from State Farm. That is not what I'm telling you to do. It is a very sophisticated purchase that you should do a lot of research about. It is not an investment. I repeat, it is not an investment. It's a place where you put liquidity. It's a place where you put capital, and then you deploy that capital into investments if you like. You don't have to, but it is one of the best places to store cash and deploy it from. So just these articles, and these are all part of the informing or misinforming America about how the economy's doing. Let me tell you, if only 7 stocks are propping up the whole thing, I don't know what we're on the brink of, but we're not. That's not a good place to be. So everybody's been waiting for some kind of downturn, some kind of recession. I think we're in one. Is inflation under control. I don't know that it's fully under control. I think they've brought it down. But if you look at some of the things, the housing prices, you look at some of the things that matter, energy prices, and really what matters is what does the American family have in its pocket at the end of the month. And I think you can see in this very same article that credit card debt is high, and so um, people are just kind of punting their debt and spending on a credit card. So I don't know. To me, I would rather be in hard assets, tangible assets that I know who is controlling those assets and who are collecting those rents, and that's just where I want to be invested. Now, it is very difficult to be diversified across alternatives, but that's why I've created the Hickory Creek Smart 100, which is my new flexible smart fund. I have room for 100 investors, and we've probably already got about 10 of those spots taken, including me. So we've got room for about 90 more accredited investors. An accredited investor is someone who makes, as an individual, over $200,000 a year. As a couple, it has to be $300,000 a year, or you can qualify by having a net worth of over $1 million. And that definition could change anytime. The SEC is looking at changing that and raising the definition, raising the bar on who is accredited. So if you barely meet that criteria, I would suggest that you get invested in alternatives as soon as possible while you still qualify. These assets are typically for people who are sophisticated, understand that there is risk in investing in alternatives. And just like anything, any mutual fund, any of the fine print on your mutual fund tells you that you could lose any or all of your investment. So it's only for sophisticated people who'll take the time to learn. But I had friends ask me to create this fund, and they're going to invest with me, and I have room to take 90 other people. And if that's you, reach out to me. Let's talk about joining the Hickory Creek Smart 100. Let's talk about getting you in there and getting you in my next fund. We're looking at the first investments to put in there. There are a lot of choices right now, and I want to make sure that my first 2-3 investments are really strong investments and actually ones that will return equity as quick as possible. So I'm looking at several different opportunities. I'm not sure that an apartment building will come along until later in the year, but I'm looking closely at some really different assets, and I want to make sure we vet those operators really well. We look at the business plan to make sure it's understandable, that it's achievable, and that those investments will bring the returns we expect, which are at a minimum 15% rates of return and above. And that's what we aim to achieve in the Smart 100 Flex Fund. So again, if that's something that interests you and you think you qualify, let's jump on a call. Let's talk about what your goals and your aspirations are with your money. Maybe you have a goal to retire at 65, and maybe we can move that forward. If you get into the right assets and move some of your allocation from Wall Street to Main Street, you may be able to retire a few years early. It just comes down to getting to pouring I call it rocket fuel, that you can pour on your portfolio by using these investments. And that's something we can discuss. We also need to look at your age, your rate of your risk tolerance. If you're in your 50s, you may need to be looking at less risky investments. So we'll probably hold you back from some of the more volatile stuff and look at some debt, some things where some private lending or some fixed income type investments, which we'll have some of those as well. But it just comes down to what you're comfortable with, and nothing in the Smart 100 fund is required. Every deal that comes along, you get an opportunity to invest or to pass on that deal. So that's how it's designed. It's really innovative. It's almost like you'll log into a portal, you'll go in there, you'll look at the offerings, and you'll pick and choose investments as they come along. Investments will be open for a brief period of time, but then they will close. And my goal is to show you at least 10 to 12 investments this year that you can pick and choose from in the fund. So anyway, keep in mind that 7 stocks are keeping the S&P 500 from going they're balancing out the S&P 500. Doesn't that make you feel warm and fuzzy about any money you've got on Wall Street or anywhere else? I hope this was informative to you guys. I wonder if it surprised you like it did me. Comment below if you think what you think about this. Comment and let me know is how much of your money's still on Wall Street. Are you ready to get some of that off Wall Street and get it on the Main Street? I would encourage you to do that. My goal or my advice to most people is to at least get half of your money off Wall Street. You've heard me harp about Tiger 21. They have probably 70% of their money off of Wall Street, if not more. So why should we not do the same? So anyway, comment below. Feel free to message me about the Smart 100. Right now, we've got plenty of room, but I can't guarantee that once this thing fills up, I can only hold 100 investors. Once the fund fills up, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I do have plans to try to do a fund for non-accredited investors, and I hope I can do that with the next one. But probably not going to do that until I get a good amount of investors into this first fund, this first flexible fund, which is really innovative and cool. So anyway, like I said, comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this article, and reach out and message me or reach out in any way possible to find out more about the Hickory Creek Smart 100. Hope you guys have a great day.